from the Sepang International Circuit. My name is Jeevan Selvanathan, and I'm here to bring you the Malaysia Championship Series 2018. It kicked off yesterday with race 1 of round 2. This wonderful format that identifies, develops, and of course gives a great platform to some of Malaysia's best national drivers. Kicked off yesterday for its 5 rounds. It will be happening this year, but of course each round is going to have 2 races. And race 1 happened yesterday around about 2 o'clock, and a little bit earlier here on Sunday is race 2. As you can see, we're about 10 minutes away from the start of that. That race 1 in the end was won by well, a long-time favorite around the Sepang International Circuit, of course well known around these areas and these parts as well, Mark Darwin in Tedco Racing with his partner Boy Wong. They took the win. Fikri Rahim from FR Racing came in second. On Yu Wei in third. Damien Dielenberg and Naha Nayan picked up 4th place. Alan Tam in 5th. Sim Kwok Tech in 6th. Nick Ma in 7th. Marcus Ong in 8th. Chong Chow and William Ho rounding off the top 10. The reason I've given you the top 10 is because, of course, as that was race 1, that is of course a reflection of the current standings in the Malaysia Championship Series 2018. 15 points for Mark Darwin for that win, 12 points for Fikri Rahim. And yes, if you are familiar with Malaysian motorsport, then you would know that there was a name absent from that list that I just read out, and that is of course Kifli Othman, who had unfortunately another situation to deal with yesterday. On the 17th lap, he was running in second. Kifli, arguably one of the fastest drivers in the Malaysia Championship Series, especially last season, had a bit of a nightmare yesterday in a wiring problem, as we've been told, which led to his Dr. Mayhem Honda Civic FD2 losing 3rd gear. And of course he tried therefore after that to actually roll the car around, but by the 17th lap then he lost all transmission on that, and it unfortunately rolled to a stop. So Kifli is going to be starting. Of course, the grid positions for this race 2 will reflect the results from race 1, so you can expect him to be starting near the back of the grid. But Mark Darwin and Boy Wong in their iridescent blue Tedco Racing car, they're going to be up front, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can pull off a double win and take what would be quite a substantial lead away from this first race. There it is, that number 11 car on the left of your screen. You can see right now the cars being tended to. Weather check for Sepang. Well, you can tell from the heat haze that the heat still is up. Track temperature is going to be up as well, but the sun it's not direct sunlight. No chance, as I saw it so far, of rain, which would of course really tip the table here. Right now everything just about right, and that is a good shot. That is, every time I come to Sepang, you see that grey cloud, you have to wonder. Well, there is the track itself, 5.542 kilometers, 15 corners with that long 927 meters straight. Plenty of overtaking opportunities on this track, and you can just see there from that shot the gradients that these touring cars are going to have to deal with. And that is one important significant fact you have to remember about the Malaysia Championship Series. These are road cars. These are the exact cars that you would find on the streets of any city. They have been tweaked up, of course, but no real electronics and driver assist. It really is man and machine, but that of course means a very high car, lower cornering speeds for this F1 grade track, and of course it does mean that you get a lot of really interesting situations. We had a couple of good battles yesterday. Just a quick rundown as we have the 5-minute board coming of some of the other things that you should also be looking for as well for this Malaysia Championship Series, and that is the esports version of the Malaysia Championship Series. A very special and new initiative from Sepang International Circuit where you get to get involved. And I don't just mean get involved with this race, but this might just change your future. That's how groundbreaking initiative it actually is. Essentially, it is a barrage of simulators brought to us by Race Room Entertainment. Those simulators with these settings for Honda cars, you get to sit in, you get to actually qualifying. There was a qualifying session yesterday that happened in the city at the Rift, in one of the big malls in Kuala Lumpur, and that produced 40 entrants, and of course they are now, that race 1 was also yesterday's, race 2 is happening today. If you want to find out more about that, then just get on to the Sepang International Circuit Facebook page, where of course this is live streaming as well. Now, back to the weather, poignantly, as we do see a shot of the clouds. I did say that when I was coming into the circuit, it didn't quite look like it was going to rain, but by the movement of those trees at the bottom of your screen, maybe, just maybe, we are going to see a sudden shower. Not uncommon up here at the Sepang International Circuit, and all types of cars, be them F1, be them Le Mans, be them prototypes, or be them Formula 3, have all had to deal with this variable part of the Sepang International Circuit. Beautiful circuit, of course. Great drainage as well. Just, I think, about a year and a half ago now, a large part of the circuit was revamped in terms of drainage, a couple of camber on some of the corners as well. And pretty much every driver from every class that has since driven on this track has said that it was much, much better. There's a lot more traction going into some of these faster corners as well. That was all, of course, undertaken by Sepang International itself. This track, well over 20 years now, has been the national hub for motorsport in Malaysia, but has also turned into a regional hub for Southeast Asian motorsport, and the GT Asia Cup and the TCR Asia Cup, just two of the championships that are also happening this weekend. GT Asia Cup, of course, from Thailand, and we've seen a lot of Indonesian races come here as well. So really has turned into exactly what it was meant to be, an international grade and motorsport hub. Wonderful, wonderful circuit. Now, back to the race. Of course, as I said, there are going to be 5 rounds that will be happening over this year. Round 1, you are in the middle of now. As I said, race 2 is just minutes away now. I can tell you, about 2 minutes away. Now, round 2, mark this down in your calendar, is going to be on the 14th and 15th of April. Then there will be a gap, mainly because it is, of course, a World Cup year. A lot of other sporting events happening around as well, but the MCS will return in July the 14th and 15th. That's for round 3. And then the final round will be in August on the 25th and 26th, a double round there. So, as the cars, as you can see, on the grid now, and the grid clear, they should be moving off onto their formation lap very soon. Let's have a look at the grid. There is the winner from race 1, Mark Darwin and Boy Wong. That 2:24.585, very fast qualifying time. Kifli Othman in second on the grid, because this is still based on qualifying as opposed to that result yesterday. 2:25.418. Sim Kwang Tek and Fikri Rahim make up row 2. Fikri had a great run yesterday, finished second in the end. Sim Kwang Tek ended up with actually half a car. Go Li Heng, one of the unfortunate non-finishers from yesterday on row 3. Damien Dielenberg, race leader for a part, also sharing row 3 there. Alan Tam was had a very interesting race 1. He's on row 7 with On Yu Wei. Ended up finishing third. Marcus Ong and Ron Salong and Mohammed Nasri Said on row 5. Behind them on row 6, Chong Chow, Tamik Chun, followed by Nick Ma and Brendan Lim. Of course, Nick Ma in the Malaysian touring class in those Suzuki Swifts. Farid Sani and Brendan Paul with their partners Ju Lau and CY Ong on row 7. William Ho and YC Fu and Yi Kok Jun on row 8. Row 9, Daddy Chin and Geraldine Darlene Reed. Row 10, Hugo Chai, Alex Wong and Fadzil Alang. We didn't see much from him yesterday. Was a big name last season. Daniel Au and Jean-Charles Dahoud, who also didn't finish yesterday on row 11. Eric Yong, Ken Fu and Danis Ng on row 12. And that makes up our full grid as you see the cars just coming around. And beautiful signature turn here at Sepang International. Now as they do weave around, get some warmth into those tyres. 1 hour race, 1 hour plus leader, roughly about 20 laps. We'll be averaging around about 140 miles an hour on that straight. Pretty much the top speed that you'll be able to get. But as I said, radically reduced cornering speeds for these high, very high off the ground touring production cars. You're gonna have to watch yourself when you get in there. We had a couple of incidences yesterday where there were cars trying to take a wider line, but because of the braking coming into this exact turn one, they actually lost that move halfway through it. The summary of yesterday was, of course, they did see a full course yellow for 3 laps. The safety car came out. That was after Alan Tam went off on turn 13, picked up a lot of gravel, and by the looks of it, also left a certain amount of oil on the track as well, and that had to be dealt with by the wonderful stewards that were on hand and are on hand again today, and you can just see them at the bottom of your screen there. So now, regardless of that cloud, and you can see my confusion as to the current weather pattern at Sepang, because that looks hot enough, but that looks like it might be a little bit of trouble. You can see exactly how close we are to Kuala Lumpur International Airport as well. Just in the background there. Very easy for international fans and of course all these teams to get all their equipment up to this wonderful circuit. Now that is Sim Kwang Tech. And as you can see, has a brand new front nose on that car. Front nose was ripped off yesterday, plus the left, or I should say the right rear bumper. We suspect from a spin at turn 15. I must have caught both ends. There's Nick Marr and Brendan Lim. And that is the wind that is picking up, and that really is around here. As a Malaysian resident, if you're watching around the world, that's a pretty clear indicator that something's coming. The question is, will it come in the next 58 minutes? So if you have just joined us once again, welcome to the Malaysia Championship Series 2018 Round 1 Race 2. Want to find out all of the current information, driver lineups, team news, analysis, and standings. Of course, you can get onto the official Sepang Circuit website, www.sepangcircuit.com. Lots and lots happening, not just this weekend, but of course this year as well. The MSBK Superbike Championship will be coming back, and in May I'll be in the commentary box for that one. Of course, MotoGP as well in November. Well, plenty of activities going around as the safety car just guides our field round to the front of the track. Sepang, of course, split into 2 tracks, the North and South Circuit, and these guys are going to be on the full circuit for today. So they come up to the back straight. That was round just at the bottom of that straight. That was the problem area for Alan Tam yesterday. The only real incident was an interesting strategy that was played by Damien Dielenberg, or raced by Damien Dielenberg. Straight after that full course yellow, the pit window was open. One regulation pit stop, of course, for the Malaysian Championship Series, and that is between the 25th and the 40th minute. And of course, as that happened, a whole slew of cars went into the pits. Damien Dielenberg stayed out and was then race leader by a full lap for 3 or 4 laps. But Mark Darwin, to his credit, came out firing from his earlier pit stop, retook the lead when Damien went in, and never looked back from there. So they approached the red lights. Round 1, race 2 for the Malaysia Championship Series. And it's on. That's another straight down the line start for Mark Darwin. That looks like all the cars coming through nicely. Keith Hoffman trying on the inside. He likes to do that on turn 1 and does it, and he manages to get second spot. Now that's a very wide line from Sim Kwang Tek, who had a great start off the right side. And he's managed to keep that lead. It did look for a second that Keithley was just going to go straight through. So a great start from Tedco Racing and that number 66 car. Timer in the top of your screen shows you how much is left in this race too. Is it going to be a double win for Mark Darwin? Well, as you can see, he's not in the top 4 at the moment. And that man, that gorgeously colored blue, gold and silver 46 Dr. Mayhem car is going to be looking for a good result. That's Keithley Othman. He's already looking. He's all over the tail of Sim Kwang Tek. Just settling into position here in these early laps. It is ever so important, of course, to have a good run and get points as consistently as possible. Last year's champion Mitchell Chow, who isn't actually racing in this year's championship, he's moved to the TCR Asia Cup championship, I should say. And Mitchell only actually came up with 2 race wins last year, but it was very, very consistent. So it's really about picking up as many points as you can. Coming into turn 15 now. And we'll be able to get you a good idea of where everyone sits as soon as they cross the line. There's not going to be much between those top 6. So confirmation, Sim Kwang Tek in the lead by just 0.3 seconds from Keithley Othman. Another 5.5 seconds back is Damon Dielenberg. Fikri Rahim, second place yesterday. He's in 4th, and we already have a DNF. That looks like, based on the color of the car, Jean-Charles Dahoud. I think that's a TOC Motorsports Civic. It looks like it. Or Proton. I think that was the Satria. And it looks like that has caused enough to bring the safety car out. So for the second time over the weekend in consecutive races, we see the safety car dictating the pace early on. Now that is a tremendous headline, because that is Mark Darwin's winning car from yesterday being pushed back by the marshals. Something has definitely happened here. Doesn't look like there's too much damage to the car, but that number 11 car, wow, this could really throw a spanner in the works early on. Looking back at the start, you can just see Mark Darwin in that blue car going straight, but have a look at the right of your screen, because that is Sim Kwang Tek, and look at the wonderful line he took in. Keithley Othman cuts in on the inside, tries to take, that looked like Fikri Rahim, and it is, yes. But look at that wide line that had to be cut back in before turn 2, and just manages Sim to keep Keithley Othman out of his racing line and keep that first line. Well, that is not looking too good at all. Looks like it's game over pretty early on for Mark Darwin and Boy Wong. That car doesn't look like it's going to be winning anything. More importantly, it looks like they're kind of figuring out as to what exactly went wrong. Well, we'll try and get you as many updates as we can as they come in from race control. All we can tell you now is that the safety car is out, and it will be in the pits at the end of the lap, so regular racing will return. I'm assuming if the safety car did come out, then there was some oil or debris on the track that needed to be cleared away. If not, if it was just making sure that the car itself had to be pushed off the racing line. But for a second, I thought it was Jean-Charles Dahoud alone. I can confirm that that was his TOC Motorsports Proton, but looks like he's had a bit of a hit with the favorites for today, Mark Darwin. Now, this, as you can imagine, means it's all set up for Kifli Othman to pick up some points and get what would have looked like a troublesome weekend that started yesterday back on track. So, safety car in the pits, it's green lights again, full speed, and it's those two at the front. Sim and Kifli both tracking each other through turn one. Just behind them is Damien Dielenberg. There's 1 second between all three of them. Down to turn 4. Can really put the speed on here, but then it's heavy braking coming through these corners. 5, 6, and 7. Uphill, as you can see. And Kifli right now is absolutely all over the tail of that 66 car. He wants to get through, and he wants to get through soon. Well, that looks like the Viper Nisa Racing team has also taken a bit of a toll. That actually looked like one of the TCR Asia cars. As I said, a couple of other championships happening today. Now, I'm sure that Kifli Othman is going to want to make a move here soon, because Damien Dielenberg is definitely putting on the jets, and he's closing up that gap. Great battle at the front. Top three all fighting for position. Coming through turns 9, 10, and 11. Now that was where Alan Tam went off yesterday. Now that looks like Damien Dielenberg taking a very wide line. Everybody crowding up before turn 15. We're all in position for a good slog down. Just behind them, Fikri Rahim, On Yu Wei, Alan Tam, Mohamed Nasri Said, Go Li Heng, as the first three cross the line for their 4th lap. And look at the numbers just on the left of your screen. That's how close it is for the top 5. 5 seconds between them. Well, that's not looking too good from Go Li Heng. There was something, it looked just like a little bit of liquid coming off that left rear tire, coming through turns 1 and 2. Doesn't seem to be continuing, so maybe it was just a locked brake. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Nick Marr and Brendan Lim in the Malaysia Touring class are leading. William Ho and Farid Sani. That there is Nasri Saad, currently 8th overall, the R Engineering car, and also leading the sport production class. And still this battle rages on. Damien Dielenberg dropping back a little bit. Kifli having absolutely none of it. He wants to get through. He's looking for any opportunity that he can get, and obviously pushing Sim Kwong Taek, who had that wonderful start and is completely deserved that first place. The question is, can that car keep in front of someone as fast as Keith Hoffman? He might have a pop. He's getting closer and closer. It's now down to 0.545 of a second, coming into the back straight now. Having a look. Damien Dielenberg again coming in on the wide side. Cuts it off nicely. This is an exercise in defensive driving now. And there he's trying it on the inside. We knew it was going to happen, but Keith Hoffman should have the line here. As he comes across, he should be able to pull through. Well, now it's a question of straight line speed. Didn't quite get the angle he wanted. And look at the way Sim Kwok Taek just cuts that line off. I don't think Keithley's going to try on the inside again. It was a pretty valiant effort all in all. And he was just a couple of micro centimeters off the right line needed to slingshot his way through. But you do get the feeling that he is hungry for the win. He by now, of course, would have heard that Mark Darwin and that Tedco Racing winning car from race 1 is out of the race. That's the big news so far. Yes, you're looking up at the time and you're thinking, how did that happen? Well, it's a DNF for Mark Darwin in race 2. Now that there is William Ho in the Malaysian touring class, being followed, or is just overtaken in fact, Nick Ma. So that is actually for position as well. Nick Ma has just conceded that top spot in that class. Big fight going on there, big fight going on at the front of the touring production class there. And again, Keithley's having a look. Well, he hasn't made it through there, but he's literally glued onto the rear bumper now of that 66 car. That means he's going to get a natural opportunity coming into turns 14 and 15. And of course, this fast downhill stretch now. It's a gutsy move to brake heavy here. Well, he wasn't close enough that time. And I think Sim Kwong Taek so far is doing very well. Well, if this is any indicator of how open the championship will be this year, so far just these opening 2 races, we've seen 4 different leaders. So Sim makes it through turn 15, and he's not going to have any trouble, or he shouldn't have. Keithley setting himself up for a big move on turn 1 by the looks of it. Again, that line gets cut off. Great defending. And I think Keithley knows that he's not going to gain anything by trying the inside line. Wow, that was some heavy late braking there going into turn 2. So this huge battle happening at the front of the pack, this for overall position and of course the touring production class as well. Now I wonder if he's going to have another go here. He's so close now, plenty of opportunities getting into the second half of the track. As you can see, the pit window is now open. Under more conventional circumstances, we should say. Yesterday it opened just at the end of that safety car trail. Now looking back at the MTC, the Malaysian touring class. Well, that's some tight racing there. Wow, going into turn 1. And that's YC Fu in the blue Proton, and just ahead, Danny Chin, and I mean just ahead. And that looks like a three-way battle now. But they have literally been side to side, and that's allowed a third car to come into it. That's Brendan Paul and C. Wyong from the Dream Chaser team. All three of them flying into that corner. And Brendan Paul's now new involvement in this fight. An MTC means that YC Fu has had to check mirrors as well as attack. And it's always a tricky situation to be in the middle of a trio. You don't want to give up position, but of course you do want to attack as well. Now here is Go Li Heng at turn 14. Turn 15, sorry. Round to the start line. Currently in 6th position and starting 7th, lap number 7. Now looking at some of these sector times, let's see who's going as fast as possible. Well, Sim Kwang Tech right now with the fastest lap, 2:28.765. Second fastest lap, 2:28.862. And that is, you guessed it, Kifli Othman. That's why this is plus 1.24 seconds behind them. Both of them now pulling away slightly from Damien Dielenberg, who also is 5 seconds ahead of Fikri Rahim. So settling into a pattern, those 4 cars are full 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. But massive battles happening everywhere. That's William Ho, followed by Nick Ma. Nick Ma still hasn't managed to regain that top spot in the MTC. And as in fact, it looks now that William Ho is actually pulling away. Finished 10th yesterday, got himself a point, William, in the overall classifications. And of course came second, Nick Ma, the winner, 7th overall. Well, this could be a great weekend of results in that class as we check back in with the touring production cars. And still, that number 66 Tedco Racing car that had such a nightmare yesterday. That black front nose is all new, I can tell you. But now we're getting to see exactly what it can do when all the parts are attached. It wasn't just a front nose, it was also the, there you go, that taped up left, right rear fender. Now that looks like Keithley may have actually found his way through at turn 15. About to start lap 8. He looks like he might have a pull. Is he going to have a go? This is the closest he's been so far in the last 4 laps. Again, the line gets shut down. He's going to have to try something very special indeed, but of course doesn't want to over-push the car after the reliability problems that plagued them yesterday. It was a wiring problem, lost 3rd gear around about lap 15 and lasted a couple of laps before that car rolled to a stop. Back with the MTC and that battle, YC Fu, Brendan Paul and Danny Chin. YC Fu now ahead of that, drifting through that corner. There's Danny Chin, and he's about to be taken. He's not having anything of it. Oh, that's just bumper to bumper. He's absolutely almost pushed him off track. Wow. Now that has definitely broken it up. Oh, it does actually look like the pit windows being used for one of that trio. There's Danny Chin that has left the trio. So now this is the leaders just at the bottom of your screen for the Malaysia Touring class. William Ho in the red Wing Hin Motorsports car into turn 1, and hot on his heels Nick Ma. And that is a similar situation to the one happening right at the front of the race. These big 2-liter production cars. Sim Kwang Tek in the green 66 car has been having battle of his life with Kifli Othman in the Dr. Mayhem Racing number 46. That's down to 0.2 seconds now. And this fight here is down to 0.6 of a second. Well, you do think as the sun makes a massive appearance back on the track again, roughly halfway through the race, that Kifli Othman has to think of something special he's going to have to do if he's going to get past this very fast. He's just put in the fastest lap, by the way, Kifli, at 2:28.219. Doesn't look it, but as they come up to the back markers, maybe he might just find his chance here. Definitely not on turns 1 and 2, too far away. Well, a bit of problem there for Sim trying to get past that back marker. Had to slow down, definitely would have given up some track position, but both of them are now past those back markers and the fight continues. 32 minutes left for Kifli Othman to find a way through. Of course, 12 points for him would be a good boost after yesterday's DNF. Now, maybe he did have a little bit of extra trouble with those back markers, because he now seems to be a little bit further back. Definitely nowhere near. Oh, well off the track there. One of the... He's come back firing from that, though. Well, Kifli Othman is throwing this car around looking for that first position. Had a good look at it overnight after those reliability problems. So coming into 9 and 10 now, uphill. Very similar cars. You do have to watch them when they get into these corners. You can just see the way they pull themselves off the racing line almost naturally. That's to the height of the car. Well, that was very wide from Sim Kwang Tek. Very lucky that Kifli was not closer. Well, it looks now that Kifli's coming into the pits. He is. So no joy in that first attempt as Sim Kwang Tek screams away into turn 15. And now he's got Damien Dielenberg to deal with, who automatically takes second spot. That was our second placed man into the pits. Don't forget the other two are going to have to come in as well. So this is where the pit strategies are really going to come into play. But as of now, Sim Kwang Tek has done everything right. And don't forget that he was not on pole position for this race. It was a fantastic break off on the right side for us, his left side of the home straight. Took a very wide line into turn 1 and just managed to turn himself in, Baron Sim. Now that is Fikri Rahim on his outlap. Second place yesterday. Just gonna have to wait for the positions to settle down before we can give you a full update of the top 10 as it stands. But the big news, of course, so far from the first half of the race is that the winner from race 1, Mark Darwin, has not managed to finish this race. And I actually say that, I should say, didn't manage to start the race, because it was pretty much within the first couple of laps when that number 11 car was off track. And it hasn't come back since then. I tell you, he was actually credited as doing 1 lap exactly. So whatever went right yesterday didn't go right again today. And that is a really good example of the strategy that you need for the Malaysian Championship Series. It's the same track Don't forget, for all 5 rounds, and these drivers know this track very, very well, as you'd expect, being the biggest names in the Malaysian motorsport community. Is Marcus Ong and Ronson Ong. There, in 17th at the moment. And there's Fikri Rahim's FR Racing, a couple of places ahead, just roughly about 25 seconds now. But as I said, still a lot of cars in the pits. Kifli Othman, Alan Tam, William Ho, Farid Sani, Hugo Chai and Chong Chow. But currently it is Sim Quantec, Baron Sim, who is out on track and leading race 2 of round 1, Malaysia Championship Series. That's Nick Ma also out. So we saw a great pit strategy yesterday from Damien Dielenberg that got him the lead. Now we're going to see how this car here manages to keep his lead. Hasn't come into the pits. Baron Sim had a great run last year, but as I said, had a unfortunate incident yesterday. Still managed to finish the race. 6th yesterday, even though he had no front and no back to that car. I'm sure he's enjoying the extra aero that he's getting now. He's absolutely tearing through these back markers. Just see that one headlight taped up at the front of the car as well. It has been a rough and tumble weekend for these guys, but they've definitely been playing this race 2 right. As you can see now, 5 seconds. Those standings at the bottom of your screen, pretty much reflective of what's going on. There's only 3 cars in the pits now, and those are 14th, 15th and 16th, William Ho, Farid Sani and Fadzal Alang. Everyone else out or on their out laps. So Kifli is currently in 9th after his pit stop. "26 minutes left to go." That's Mohammed Nasri Said, 4th overall at the moment, topping the SB1 class. The best time there of 2:36.670. Best we've seen all day has been a 2:28.765 from Baron Sim. So the pit window will be shut in 6 minutes. So Damien Dielenberg now in the pits. Geraldine Reed is in the pits. And Fadzal Alang is actually in the pits as well. So 6 minutes left, as I said, for that pit window. That's when we're expecting to see that lead car come in. Currently 22 seconds ahead of Goh Lee Heng in 2nd. Goh Lee Heng, also another one of the DNFs from yesterday. Going to be looking to get some points on the board in race 2. Now another car into the pits. That looks like YC Fu that's coming out. Keep to that pit speed limit, 60 kilometers an hour. Before you can open up the throttle using the back pit. Of course, there is a second pit off the front. Now that is a car that certainly doesn't look like it is going at racing speed. I can tell you that is Hugo Chai and Alex Wong in the Malaysia touring class, not looking too good. Definitely not choosing to drive at that pace. And has dropped down the order, as you can imagine, now in 21st. Now, that is William Hope. So, we are still waiting for Baron Sim to come in. Looks like he's going to do it right at the end of the pit window. Still 22 seconds ahead as we see it of Goh Lee Heng, number 93. That is the Malaysia Touring class. YC Fu is currently credited as being ahead of Daniel Au in that class. That actually looked like YC Fu getting into the pits. Yes, it is. So things still changing, and that is the big pit stop that we've been waiting for. This is what is going to literally change the course of this race. Those guys at Tedco Racing need to get that car back out on track as soon as possible to make good on this wonderful lead that Baron Sim has crafted right from the start. Nick Ma and Brendan Lim coming into turn 1. So a whole slew of pit stops right at the end of the pit window. Baron Sim, Goh Lee Heng, Mohamed Nasri Syed, YC Fu, Geraldine Reid, Eric Yong and Dennis Ng currently occupying the pit lane. As we look at the car that won the Malaysia Touring class category yesterday, with a total time of 1 hour, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. As Nick Ma and Brendan Lim in that Suzuki Swift. Also did very well last year in that car. And that there, number 23 is Geraldine Reid. Finished 16th yesterday. So we'll just give it one more lap before, as you can see, all these cars have come out of the pits. That's Eric Yong, who's just left the pits. That's Nasri Syed at the back. And that's Dennis Ng from Wing Hin Motorsports, all joining up, and right in the middle of that, arriving at just the right time, it seems. Now, while we have some time before these cars settle into the last 20 minutes of this race, once again, if you want to get involved with the Malaysia Championship Series this year, then this year you can. This is, of course, the second year of this net broadcast. Welcome wherever you are around the net if you're a touring car enthusiast. But if you want to get involved, if you're in Malaysia and you want to get involved with the Malaysia Championship Series, then get involved with the esports version of the MCS that's happening concurrently on every race weekend. Right now, as I'm speaking, there are actually people entering that tournament. If you want to find out more, then get on to the Sepang International Circuit Facebook page. And if you're watching it, of course, on that page, then straight after this race, go and check it out and get involved as well, because the winner of that tournament this year might actually, well, will get a drive, an actual real drive in the Malaysian Championship Series. It's really exciting stuff. Now, coming out of the pits is Baron Sim. That was a quick enough stop. 12 laps completed, and that was the key pit stop that we were looking for. Goh Lee Heng, who was in second, is also in the pits. Now remember that Baron Sim has completed 13 laps. So he did stay out for an extra lap, and that is going to be what could make all the difference. Now Goh Lee Heng has come out the pits in second, also on 13 laps now. And now everyone is settling into their positions. So currently the top three, Sim Kwong Tek and Tony Teo from Tedco Racing, Damon Dielenberg and Nahan Nayan in second, and Fikri Rahim in third. The big winner here, of course, is going to be Fikri Rahim, because he finished second yesterday, and so a third here would give him an extra 10 points, and that should see him on top of the table. Now, if you're wondering where that wonderfully painted Dr. Mayhem Racing Team number 46 car is, the question is still unanswered. We don't know. Keithley may have run into some more reliability problems. The timing boards are currently trying to track him. It says he's still on 10 laps. Somewhere on the track, Keithley Hoffmann is possibly holding his head again. So as we get back with 18 minutes left, Baron Sim leading race 2 of round 1. Damien Dielenberg right there on your screen in second spot, goes past the back marker. Fikri Rahim just behind him is going to be trying to get past that back marker as well. Go Li Heng is in 4th, On Yu Wei is in 5th. Alan Tang, who had such a interesting race yesterday, is in 6th. Nasri Said is in 7th. Marcus Ong and Ronson Ong in 8th. William Ho in 9th, and Nick Ma and Brendan Lim in 10th. And those 9th and 10th positions, also the top 2 positions in the Malaysia touring class. And a big shout out to Nasri Said, who's also 7th and is topping the SB1 class, in addition to being 7th. So as you come down the front straight, there is our race leader. Well earned, well deserved. Fantastic move off the start, and so far reliability seems to be working for Baron Sim and Tony Thierry. You can just see their names emblazoned on the side of that rear window. Very good performance from them. 2:28.765, still the fastest lap that we've seen from them, and that looks a bit ominous, as that light looks a little bit more lit, and the ambient light has definitely dropped. I wonder if that means a rain shower is possibly on the way. Well, there's some big news there. Fikri Rahim, I was just saying how he could be the big winner from this weekend if he could finish in 3rd spot. Well, have a look at that. That's the door opening. That's not going to mean any points for him. Out of the race. So, Mark Darwin out the race. He won yesterday, and look at the frustration. Fikri Rahim, he knew that he was 16 minutes away from some very valuable points indeed. So, as it stands right now, the top 3 that finished yesterday all will not be the top 3 this second race. Mark Darwin definitely not. He retired after 1 lap. Fikri Rahim, as we've just seen, has retired after 14 laps. On Yu Wei is still in it in 5th spot, so might be picking up another 6 points. Yellow flag on the course as expected, and the safety car will be out. Looks like Fikri may have left some debris on the track there. He was very frustrated when he came out of his car. Looks like it's probably a reliability problem. So a brief intermission for these guys. There's Damien Dielenberg, race leader for a time yesterday. There is the final result for Keithley Hoffmann's Dr. Mayhem 46 car. Again off track and on the grass. Again a DNF, so 0 points for Keithley, unfortunately. And here is Fikri retiring. And it was a very, has to be said, innocuous retirement. Maybe left some oil on turn 1. That is a very dangerous place to have oil, so they're possibly checking that out right now. But it's a full course yellow that has been instigated by race control. So all the cars will be down to full course yellow speeds. Well, currently it is an 18-second lead that that green car in the middle of your screen has. And if I'm right, that is Nick Ma in 2nd place. I was about to say those were the 2 leaders of the 2 classes, but actually William Ho is still ahead of Nick Ma by some 2 seconds by the looks of it. that is first and second. Second there is our leader in the MTC, the Malaysia Touring class. Just waiting now for that safety car to pull back into the pits. Great race we've had today. Different race from yesterday, it has to be said, which was also governed by that. This is the reason for the full course yellow, having to tow Fikri Rahim's Honda off the track. That is just a juncture between turn 1 and turn 2, so a lot of cars that get jammed up around that, and I'm sure they're just going to dust off that area of the track as well just to make sure. But as I said, it looked pretty much like it's an electrics problem. If it was a gearing problem or an engine blow, you would have probably seen a lot more smoke than that, I would have thought. But as you can see, in neutral and being dragged off. Right, so now getting back up the sun, back here at Sepang International. If you've just joined us, this is the final moments, cutting into the last 10 minutes of round 1, race 2 of the Malaysia Championship Series. From what we've seen over this weekend, it looks like it's going to be a fantastic series as well. 4 different leaders so far. Definitely going to get 2 different winners from the races, with the retirement of Mark Darwin, the winner from race 1. And no significant problems for Tedco Racing, who currently have 2 cars in the top 3. Goh Lee Heng, also another DNF from yesterday, in 3rd spot, some 7 seconds behind Damon Dielenberg, who is 32 seconds behind that car there. That is now on lap 15. Just to confirm, it was yellow flag was actually shown at turn 6 in the end. But I think we're back up now to racing speed, and those times at the left of your screen are now all purely reflective of what's going on. But look at this massive traffic jam as all the cars get up to speed again. Still that car. Aaron Sims, number 66. Just 1 headlight. But that's not going to bother him. That's YC Fu on the inside, leading this pack. As Goh Lee Heng in there as well. Goh's going to have to watch it coming into turn 15 to protect at 3rd spot. So now, with the retirement of Fikri Rahim and Mark Darwin, of course, the other big winner in terms of consistency from this race is going to have to be On Yue. 3rd yesterday, running 4th today. That will give On 18 points. And we'll put... and that should be good enough for top spot in the table. Actually, I stand corrected. Damon Dielenberg is in 2nd, and he'll be picking up 12 points. So he'll be, if he finishes in this position after the 8 points he picked up yesterday, would be on 20 points. So Damon Dielenberg, through consistency alone again, would be on top of the standings. Do check www.sepangcircuit.com this coming week for all the updated results, qualifying times. Under 10 minutes left now. Aaron Sim just taking his foot off the pedal a little bit, just lost a few seconds to Damon Dielenberg in 2nd. But being 27 seconds ahead as opposed to 32 seconds with 9 minutes left, still a very good situation all in all. And the weather, as you can see, bright and sunny again. It really has, in the course of 1 hour, showed you everything that could happen at the Sepang International Circuit. Of course, plenty more races happening after this. The GT Asia Championship will be continuing immediately after this race, and hopefully that won't be affected by that massive rain cloud that we saw earlier. There is the MTC leader, number 39, William Ho. Finished 10th yesterday. Currently in 8th overall, and just 0.6 of a second ahead of Nick Ma. You can just see how close that battle is as they're coming into turn 15 now. Nick looks like he's gonna try at turn 15, and I think he may have just done it. Beautiful move, wonderful stuff. William tries again on the inside, and Nick just wasn't tight enough in pulling that back, as it looks like he's gonna relinquish it again. Straight line, neck and neck. This for first and second in the MTC category. Wow, tries to cut in on the inside, but I don't think you're going to be able to do it this time, William. Nick Ma and Brendan Lim know how to drive that car through turns 1 and turn 2, and Nick Ma manages to regain first spot with 7 minutes left. Don't forget, they won yesterday, overall 7th, overall 8th today. A lot of back markers in the way. Perhaps William Ho is going to have another opportunity. Well, look at how much he pulled back there. Just a little bit off track for Nick Ma, and this is congestion that Nick Ma is not going to want. He's going to want to get past these cars as quickly as possible. That's one down. Well, poor Dennis Ng had to just about stay on track there. And Nick Ma manages to get past that second car. So does Williams. So that fight still raging right to the end by the looks of it. No reliability issues so far for these two. And that's William trying again all over the back of that Suzuki Swift. It's all set up for a good move here as they get into turns 9 through 12. Now that's the kind of debris that I'm talking about that the marshals have to keep an eye on. I don't know if that's fresh debris or if it was from one of the cars that is already retired. Again, hats off to all of the marshals, support staff, logistical staff, and of course the organizers for keeping a very, very close eye on pretty much every piece of debris on this track. Want to make sure that the safety standards are up to scratch for these guys. William Ho trying again as they approach turn 15. It's been a good battle here in the MTC class, fighting for 8th and 9th overall. 5 minutes left to go. While this is happening, I can tell you there's been no change at the top except for the fact that Go Li Heng has actually come back into the pits again. This is interesting. And it also, and how about that for YC Fu? That looks like the end of that race. For that MTC car, unfortunately, and it looked like it was a bit of a spin out while there was a bit of contact there. It's Go Li Heng and Damien Dielenberg. Now that is going to be a shocker for Damien. He was running in second. That was actually for position as well. It may have been. I'm just checking. Yep, they were both on the 18th lap. So a bit of stuff to talk about in the press conference, shall we say. I'm sure Damien's not going to be too happy with that. On Yue, by the way, has now retaken 3rd spot, so this really is going to be a result for Yue. 2 third positions. And Damon Dielenberg now out. Well, that changes the standings again. And that means that Yue will in fact be on top of the heap with 20 points. And this man here, Baron Sim, will be tied with Mark Darwin for 15 points, if I'm right, and that should be it. Goh Li Heng will be scoring first points after retiring yesterday. In fourth, Alan Tam, of course, picked up 6 points, currently running in fifth, so that'll be another 6 for him. Looking here at Fadzil Alang, who's back on track, which is good to see. Number 29 car, just ahead of Danisung, just had to go wide on that corner to let Nick Ma and William Ho through. You just see them up on the middle of your screen there. And it actually looks now that Nick Ma has managed to pull a bit of time out there. This is pretty close. Just 0.4 of a second between Danisung, Fadzil Alang, and that should be Eric Yong behind them. All three of them coming down the back street, absolutely belting it down the back straight. Now I wonder if Eric Yong can come out the best here. Well, that is Danisung on the inside. Well, that's a great move, and that's not going to allow, well, anyone. That's a beautiful move from a little bit of sand picked up in the end from Eric Yong, who did try to get the better of this situation, this fight happening in front of him. And it looks like Danis isn't going to be able to hold that line coming into turn one. Inside is owned by Fadzil Alang. And very wide there from Danisung. And look at, that's a great example of how much time you can lose on turns 1 and 2 if you do get your line wrong. Meanwhile, up at the front now, 57 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. The star of Sunday at the Malaysia Championship Series. What a drive, what a start. And this is going to be a fantastic finish. As I said, all of these drivers have great running knowledge of this Sepang International Circuit, home circuit for all of them. But that's actually what makes it really interesting when you get to this Malaysia Championship Series every year. This is the 4th edition. 1 minute left on the clock now, 1 hour plus the leader. So the amount of laps in the end will be determined by this car. Now, unbelievably, it still says that Damien Dielenberg is in second, but we did, of course, see that he did have an incident earlier on. So as Baron Sim crosses the line for lap 20, now we're really going to see, with 30 seconds left on the clock, whether Damien managed to recover from that. It was right here at turn 1. We haven't seen any yellow flags, so, but in the same way, hasn't crossed the line yet. That's Nick Ma heading up the MTC class, and also now getting into last lap territory, as you can see right there. Good fight from William Ho. Was leading for a lot of this race in this category, but as you can see now, the class and finesse of this Suzuki Swift and the driving pair of Nick Ma and Brendan Lim seems to come through. And there is Damien Dielenberg looking absolutely fine, even though he was off track and pretty much on time as well, but has in fact lost second spot. That is important. On Yue has come through in second, 1 minute and 2 seconds behind. 8 seconds behind Yue is Dielenberg. Go Li Heng in 4th, Alan Tam in 5th. Just waiting for Marcus Ong and Ronsenong now to come in 6th and 7th. That there is Alan Tam. Went off track yesterday and caused a 3-lap full course yellow, having to clear up all the debris that came off that car. No such problems this time around. So with the timeout now, it is all up to this man here, Baron Sim. To make it through these final corners, and he's coming up to turn 15 right now. What a start, what a drive. Will be, I'll just quickly add, he's going to be investigated for speeding under the full course yellow. That he does have to see the stewards for after the race, but that is not going to take away from what has been a great performance. And the last lap goes to the checkered flag, and what a race it's been for Baron Sim. Now we're gonna have to wait a little while. Was some 1 minute ahead of On Your Way, and let's just hope that On Your Way does come through. This is Nick Ma that should be finishing now for his 2nd win, double victory for him over round 1. Pretty much picking up from where they left off last year. And William Ho with all lights flashing. Comes through as the 2nd place in the MTC category. Good run from him as well, was leading of course for a long time, and Damien Dielenberg can confirm now that On Your Way has finished in 2nd. And 3rd, Go Li Heng picks up some points. So On Your Way now is going to be the race or championship leader, I should say, with 12 points to add to the 10, so that's going to be 22 points and sitting pretty on top. But the winner of race 2 is this man here, Baron Sim. 15 points for him. That's going to put him equal 2nd with Mark Darwin, who won race 1. Top 3 in the MTC category: Nick Ma, Brendan Lim in 1st, William Ho in 2nd, and Danny Chin ended up in 3rd. Brendan Paul in 4th for that one. Farid Sani in Julau in 5th. Geraldine Darlene Reed in 6th, and Daniel Au in 7th. And for the top 5 for the touring production is Baron Sim, On Your Way, Go Li Heng, Alan Tam with a creditable 4th. Damien Dielenberg actually 5th in the end. Still some points for him though to add to his 4th place yesterday. Marcus Ong in 6th, Nasri Saad should be coming through in 7th, and Nick Ma and William Ho also the top 2 in the MTC class, 8th and 9th, with Danny Chin in 10th. For the sporting production trophy that is also going to be contested this year, well, it's Mohammed Nasri Saad in the number 77 car that has come out on top there. And in the SP2 class, Eric Young and Ken Fu. All cars now back in Parc Fermé, or we checked for technical regulations. There is the winner of our MTC class. And we do hope that you have enjoyed the race as we have today. And looking at the confirmed results, there you go, there you have it. 101.49958 for Baron Sim. Fantastic drive and a great start to get him up, and pretty much led from start to finish. Good strategy there as well. On Your Way in 2nd, Go Li Heng in 3rd, Alan Tam in 4th, Damien Dielenberg, Marcus Ong and Nasri Saad 5th, 6th and 7th. Nick Ma and William Ho and Danny Chin begin the MTC class, but also take 8th to 10th overall. And Brendan Paul in 11th, Farid Salih 12th, Geraldine Reed in 13th, Daniel Au, Chong Chow and Fadzil Alang 14th, 15th and 16th. These are also MTC category cars. Eric Yong, Dennis Ng and Hugo Chai 17th and 19th, and YC Fu in 20th after a good run, but unfortunately didn't make it. And there's another DNF list that we didn't want to see for Kifli Othman, especially after 10 laps. Mark Darwin after 1 lap, and Fikri Rhyme as well, who finished second after 14 laps. This essentially was pretty much the finishers list from yesterday. So it has been some exciting racing over the first 2 races for round 1. Catch us again, as we said, on the 14th and 15th of April. Stick around here, though, on the live stream for the Sepang International Circuit, because the GT Asia Championship is up next. That's all from me for today. My name is Jeevan Somanathan. I'll catch you in round 2.